I want you to try to defend a belief almost everyone holds and watch how fast it falls apart. The belief goes like this: I've got a will, so my family is taken care of and they'll get my stuff quickly when I'm gone. Sounds airtight. It's wrong in a way that costs grieving families months and thousands of dollars. Let me dismantle it piece by piece, and by the end, you'll see exactly why the wealthy quietly refuse to rely on a will alone. Start with the belief that a will gets your money to your family fast. A will is just your written instructions for who gets what after you die. It names guardians for your kids and an executor to carry out your wishes. Good and necessary. But a will does not avoid probate. In fact, a will is the exact document that gets walked into probate court to be validated. So a will doesn't skip probate. It guides probate. Your family doesn't get the money right away. First, they walk into a slow, public, expensive court process. And that's where the belief starts to crack. So why is probate the problem nobody warned you about? 3 reasons. It's slow, dragging on for months and sometimes more than a year while your family waits to access what you left them. It's expensive, with court fees, attorney fees, and executor fees eating a real chunk of your estate, sometimes several %, money meant for your loved ones, not the system. And it's public. Probate is a court record, so anyone can look up what you owned and who got it. Your private financial life becomes a document the world can read. Now the second belief to bust: trusts are only for the ultra-rich. Wrong reason, right people. The wealthy use trusts not because they're rich, but because they refuse to pay the probate tax of time, money, and exposure. A living trust is a legal container you put your assets into while you're alive. Your house, your accounts, your investments. And here's the part that breaks the myth. You still control all of it. The magic shows up at death. Because your assets are owned by the trust, not by you personally, there's nothing for probate court to process. It all passes straight to your people, privately and fast. With a will, your family waits months in public court. With a trust, your successor steps in within days and distributes everything exactly as you wanted. Next belief to take apart. A trust must be some complicated rich person contraption. It's actually 3 plain roles. The grantor, that's you, who sets it up. The trustee, also usually you while you're alive, who manages it. And the beneficiaries who inherit later. While you're alive, nothing about your daily life changes. You buy, sell, and spend exactly like before. You can change or cancel the whole thing anytime because the common version, a revocable living trust, keeps you fully in control. Then you name a successor trustee, the person who takes over the moment you pass or can't manage things, follows your instructions, and hands everything to your beneficiaries with no court involved. Here's a belief that quietly destroys trusts. Once I sign the trust document, I'm done. This is the single biggest mistake people make. You have to actually fund the trust. That means retitling your assets into the trust's name, your home, your accounts, your investments. An unfunded trust is just expensive paper. If your house is still in your own name when you die, it goes straight to probate anyway, defeating the entire point. Creating the trust is only half the job. And now the one most people get exactly backwards. If I have a trust, I don't need a will. Even with a trust, you still want a will, a special kind called a pour-over will. It's a safety net that catches any asset you forgot to move into the trust. A will also does one thing a trust can't. It names guardians for your minor children. So the pros don't choose will versus trust. They use both. The trust to skip probate, the will to back it up and protect the kids. Quick pattern interrupt, because there's a bonus almost everyone overlooks. A living trust doesn't only plan for death, it plans for incapacity. If you're ever unable to manage your affairs, your successor trustee steps in instantly. Without it, your family might have to go to court just to get permission to manage your money while you're still alive. The trust quietly avoids that nightmare too. Protection on both ends of life. So do you actually need one? If you own a home, have meaningful assets, or simply want a private, fast, smooth handoff to your family, a living trust is one of the best tools you can set up. If you're young with very few assets, a solid will and proper beneficiary designations may be enough for now. The right answer depends on your assets, your state, and your goals, so treat it as a planning decision, not a one-size rule. And speaking of beneficiary designations, there's a free tool people ignore. Accounts like retirement plans and life insurance pass by beneficiary designation, completely outside probate and even outside your will. Whoever you named on the form wins. So check those forms today, because an outdated beneficiary, like an ex-spouse you forgot about, can override everything else you planned. It's the simplest estate mistake to fix and the most commonly ignored. A couple of honest distinctions you'll hear thrown around. The common living trust is revocable, meaning you can change it anytime and stay in full control. It avoids probate but offers little lawsuit protection. There's also an irrevocable trust, where you give up control in exchange for strong asset protection and possible estate tax savings. Most families start with a revocable living trust, and the wealthy add irrevocable ones as their estate grows. One caution: a trust is a legal document, and a botched, do-it-yourself version can fail exactly when your family needs it most. For anything beyond the simplest situation, use a qualified estate attorney. Yes, it costs more than a cheap online will, often several hundred to a couple $1,000s. But weigh that against months of probate, court fees, and public exposure, and for most families the trust pays for itself. Now the worst belief of all, the one that does the most damage, I'll get to it eventually. Doing nothing is a neutral. If you die with neither a will nor a trust, your state writes the plan for you using rigid rules that may ignore your real wishes entirely. A court, not you, decides who raises your kids and who gets your money after a long, expensive probate. You'd be actively handing control of your legacy to strangers. A simple plan beats that every single time. So let's pin down what's actually true. A will tells the world who gets what, but it must go through probate, which is slow, expensive, and public. That's the cost the wealthy refuse to pay. A living trust holds your assets so they skip probate entirely, passing privately and fast to the people you choose and protecting you if you're ever incapacitated. Use both. Fund the trust properly. Keep your beneficiary forms current. That's the playbook. Your move this week is small. Just find out whether your home and accounts would go through probate as things stand right now. That one answer tells you whether a trust belongs on your to-do list. Now I want your vote in the comments, and be honest, no judgment, a will, a trust, or nothing yet. Pick one and tell me where you stand right now, and if you're in the nothing yet camp, say what's been stopping you. If you want estate and wealth strategies explained without the confusing jargon, subscribe, and pass this to someone who keeps putting off their plan, because the best time to fix this was years ago, and the second best time is the second this video ends.